Alright guys, what's going on? What's cracking? Today is a head day. Because every guy loves head, right? Ha, pun intended. So, what we're doing today is putting the head together. So we've got the head laid out here. I've got the springs, the valves, all that good stuff. The head is back from A&C. My wife picked it up today. The guy who actually machined it there wasn't in today, so I couldn't find out how much they actually removed. Unfortunately, the last time when they did that head, they took off 4 thou, 0.004 if you guys are wondering about the decimal point. I'm wondering how much they had to take off of this one. See, it's nice. Look at that. Woo! And I had them cleaned it up. And it looks much better. There is a little bit of brown residue in there, but you can literally wipes off. But again, oil's gonna be in there, so I don't care. I was mostly worried about the exterior of it here and the ports itself, which look fucking amazing. So what we're going to do here first is drop in the valves. I am going to use a little bit of an engine assembly lube, some moly lube, to put in each one. Now they are covered in oil still because these are the factory ones. I'm putting it back together for the wife, so it's very basic. But what I'm going to do is start with the exhaust side first, which is the bottom part. If you look at the front of it here, this is your intake, that's your exhaust. So we're gonna start with the exhaust side, which is right, I believe it's on, no, sorry, I had it wrong. That's your exhaust side, burp. We'll drop those in, go the whole way back, and then we'll do the intake side, and then we'll flip the head down. So I'm gonna set up the camera here, guys, and enjoy. Okay, now what I need to do next is flip the head over. And they're probably thinking, well, how do you do it without dropping the valves out? What you do is literally what I'm gonna do here is bend up the cardboard, set it with it, and just plop it down. It's pretty easy actually. So move this out of the way. What you do is like, the head sits there, right? So you just crank this up like so. Come on, bend. And then you just all falls over so they don't fall out. And that's pretty much it. Now, one thing I did do stupidly, because I'm an idiot, I put these all in ahead of time, which these are actual shims that go below the actual valves itself. This is what the valves sit on. I put them in ahead of time like a dingus. So just remember, guys, you need to put this in all of the valves. So you have a total of 24 of these. So you want to make sure you don't lose these and put them all back in. I'm now going to have to double check because I'm not sure which one this even fell out of. So I got to start from scratch because I'm a dingus. All right, so now everything's flipped over. We've got all the valves in. We have to put the springs and everything in. Again, all the valves, or not valve seats, the spring seats are all in. Both the intake over here and the exhaust side over here, they're all in. Now what we're going to do, again, I did this in chronological order, so we're gonna start with exhaust 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And the intake side then, we're gonna put those in. Then we put the buckets on top of that. This is where it gets fun. You guys will enjoy this. It just takes a little bit of time doing all this, and then I'll show you how to use the Valve Master tool to install everything. But it's not so bad. Honestly, it's not as bad as what you think it'd be. It's a little time consuming, but you'll see here shortly. Okay guys, next up what we need to do is install the valve stem seals. I'm actually using GSC valve stem seals here today. See if I can find the little tag here so I can give you guys the part number. I'm using the GSC Power Division valve stem seals. There is the part number for you guys, so you know which one to get. When you're doing these, they're not that hard. You just slip them on. These already have moly coat on all the valves. You want to put something inside so it lubes them up and they go down nicely and sit on there. You're going to press them on by finger, so I'll actually grab one here. I started doing them, so I apologize. Let me grab one here. Grab one like so. These valves already have some moly coat on them. So you push it over. Take a 10 millimeter, and we're going to push this down for right now. You're going to seat it down. Now here's where it's like, this is where it can be a little tough because you've got to actually hammer this on. If you can see, that's actually sitting above it right now. See how high that one is compared to the rest? Got to take a nice little dead blow there and hammer these down. Now, I repeat, you don't want to crank this down and smash it down because you can distort and destroy it. It's one of those finesse things. I say 2 good whacks. When I mean a whack, I can't even express. Like, you guys know, it's rubber sealed. You just need to give it 2 good little hits and it should be fine. and it'll seat down. The good way to test to see if it's seated is to grab your pliers that you used to remove the old ones, use those, and just grab them and see if it pulls up at all. Just give it a little tug. If it doesn't, then you're fine. I would go ahead and re-tap that one because you might have loosened it up some, but if it's tight, then you should be fine. You need to repeat that across all of them, and then you can put all your valves, springs, and seats in, which I'll show you then after this. All right, guys, so I've got the valves in now. I've got the seats in, and I've got the springs in now. Went ahead and did the first one here I put the retainer in. I can actually put the seat back on that now. We're on the intake side right now, so that's number one. Let's go ahead and shimmy that over. That one's done. Now, what we need to do after this is do the rest. I'll set up the camera here so you guys can watch me. But what we're gonna do is take the Toyo tool. We're gonna use a little side that has a little ball detent up, which goes in and out. You're gonna take this here. You're gonna pull this out. And you're gonna pull out your two keepers. I go ahead and sit those down in. Sit those down inside there. Sit one in. Set the second one down in. Boom, just like so. Then you wanna sit that on top. Try to line it up as best you can. So you're gonna see there, line up the best you can. And this is where I can't do both at the same time. It takes quite a good bit of pressure. Luckily these are stock valves. Aftermarket valves, this is really hard. I have to like literally be on the ground and stand on top of it. It's so hard, or whack it with a massive hammer. But with the factory valves and springs and stuff, this is quite simple. So just need to do that, and then yeah, this is not that bad. All right, guys, now next up, we've got the head back on. Now what we need to do is use the ARP assembly lube and use the nuts here. I believe it is a 1/2 inch 12 point that you need to use for this. You want to put as much, you can be pretty, you can use a good bit of the stuff inside there, because this is really what this does is allows this nut to bind up. So when you're cranking it down, it gives a true torque reading. This allows it not to, smear against other metal. This lets it spin freely, pretty much. That's pretty much the gist of it. So use a 1/2 inch, put these down, and then we're gonna do 30, 60, and then the recommended last torque rating is 80. I believe I did mine to 85. I think I just went slightly over, but you guys get the gist and get the idea of it. All right, guys, so time to torque these things down. You want to use a torque wrench. So I have a Craftsman one here that goes up to exactly 80 foot-pounds, which is kind of nice. I'm starting off again here at 30, but don't start at the front. So one thing you have to do is this. Well, let me just pull the camera down. There's actually a torque sequence you guys need to follow. And it actually labels it in the book. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a crisscross pattern, right? And that's how you have to do it. To make it easy, I just label it on the head so I don't forget, because I know I'm going to forget. So that's how you need to do it, and you follow that pattern for 30, then 60, and then 80. Pretty simple, right? So you just follow that and crank it down. All right, guys, so next up what we're gonna do is unlock this now and spin this up to 60. All right, lock that down and repeat the process. Now, the more you get into this, the harder it gets to, so the last part I really gotta hold on to. It usually helps you have another person. These engine stands don't do all that well, especially when you're starting to add some serious torque. 60 is not so bad. All right, guys, and then for the last one, we're gonna crank this bad boy up. Alright guys, I hope this video was helpful. Typical video for me. If you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe down below. I'm going to be doing more videos like this, still working on the wife's car here, working on the motor and stuff. The next one will be installing cams and how to do that, and so on and so forth. And we got the disassembly of the car to go over yet. There's a bunch more videos to do and a bunch more videos to upload. It seems to be never ending. So guys, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.